Alright, here's another video. I gotta make 2 rattlesnake heads. The problem was that this rattlesnake head that I got, that was given to me to do for somebody, a special order, was made of resin. And it's hollow. So, first off, I've never done a casting. I've done one casting. So, I need to get practicing casting with my knife making, and I won't get into detail on where this is going, but I removed the fangs, cut it in half, because in order to do this right, I would have to split it into 2 pieces and cast them separately, and then put them back together, and with brass pens, and then braze it with a brass rod and all that. But I was thinking maybe I should do it out of wax, do a test run, so that's what I did. That's the bottom jaw that I I did the test run on. Yesterday I did the head of this snake, and here it is. So the only thing I saw and see that I would like to try to eliminate is more of that, getting rid of more of that sand in my cast. I'm kind of worried about sand, and maybe I should have packed it top and bottom better. This one did, the bottom part did come out cleaner. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat here. But so I cut the resin mold in half, because I couldn't find anybody with a wax 3D printer to print this head all in one piece, and then run sprues and do a plaster pour. And then do the plaster, melt the wax mold out, and pour it with brass. So here's the top. I'll put them side by side so you can see what I did. As you can see, there's some sand sticking to there, but hopefully I can clean the majority up. I've been sitting here with a fine tip screwdriver, a little small screwdriver, and cleaning up the grooves, and using a little brush to scrub the sand out of the pores, and a little flathead screwdriver. But I cleaned up around the eyes. That was another problem when I pulled the mold out, this mold out. These are deep inset, so when I put it in the mold, I put it in upside down into the sand and packed it down around it. And when I pulled this straight out, it pulled some of the sand out around the eyes. No big deal. Since I was pouring out of wax, I've been sitting here cleaning up around the eyes. It's still in a little rough a little bit, but there's a little bit of sand sticking in there right there. But plus I ended up with a line right along here that I'm cleaning up too. But it didn't turn out too bad, all in all. For a first time, not too bad. So what I can do, I have the option of gluing the 2 halves. This is the bottom jaw. Shoot. Sorry about that. That was in here, then covered with talcum powder, and then the top done. So what I can do is heat up some wax, put along here on both sides, and wax glue it back together. And I can also make the teeth out of wax. So I can clean up the lines. I can clean up the lines along this jaw where my pinky finger is, right here, over to the gum line, and lay some wax in there and make it disappear, make that line disappear. And then blend the gum line in here together and blend it all in, and then make some wax fangs. The bottom did turn out better than the top, I do gotta say. A little more, actually, you know, now that I think about it, the top is out of paraffin. Well, it's a paraffin blend with beeswax. And the bottom has more paraffin in it. I wonder if that is why I didn't get as much sticking to the bottom as I did the top is the difference in wax. I'm sure that's probably what it is, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, I wanted to show you what I did, and I'll be posting another video when I do the brass pour, and we'll see how the brass turns out. I wish I had more of these made already. I could do one, press one out of brass, you know, do a sand cast and just pour straight brass. It goes straight to the brass right away. But I have the feeling I'm going to be looking up some more information about the plaster Paris and do it out of plaster. So once I glue these together and blend them in, put the fangs in there, I can put this down in the plaster and run some sprues up out of there and pour the plaster and let it set up, and then put it in the oven and heat it up and let the wax drain out of there. And then I can pour brass into my plaster mold, and I'll have a complete head if I do it that way. So that's probably the route I'm going to go. You got to make sure there's no moisture in your plaster Paris. You got to make sure it's dried up good, because if there's moisture in there, you pour hot brass, it could explode the hot brass and fracture your mold, and it would be all a loss. So I don't want that to happen, so I want to make sure I do it right. So just like you guys do and I do, I get on YouTube and YouTube everything, and I'll get more information about how to do my brass pour properly without that happening, and make sure that I have the right mix of plaster Paris. I might have to add some vermiculite to it, which is a volcanic rock. But I had to preheat the mold, so I'd have to preheat the mold, get it warmed up, and then pour the hot brass in, so I don't get a hot brass to cold plaster, and it would break that way too. But that's what I got, and that's what I'm working on. Hopefully this ain't too big of a pain in the rear end, but it's kind of fun actually working on this and getting that to work out the way it did. I'm glad I got it to work out. So now I know I can do it. It's just time consuming, and like I said, do your research when you do something like that. But thanks for watching, and keep your eye out.